I'm wifey, baby mama. No drama, no drama. I'm baby mama, your wifey. No drama, no drama. We're family, 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 family. Yes.
Hey, I'm Sean,
Hi, and I'm Shannon.
and we're the host of Wifey and Baby Mama. As always, first we want to thank everyone who listened and subscribed on last week. We welcome you back. And we also want to welcome all of our new listeners to this week's episode titled Family, Favorites, and Farces. All right, so let's get
All
into it.
right.
Tonight, we're going to talk about something all too common when it comes to blended families and relationships. Family favorites. Now, I'm sure most people have dealt with this topic, or to the very least, know someone that has. In
Hmm.
previous
Right.
episodes, I think I've mentioned it's cool to keep, healthy relationship when you've dealt with a partner for years. However, it's not so cool if it's drama surrounding it. Oftentimes, two people, that are dealing decide to go their separate ways, but the family is still attached, to the ex, and that's okay. But keep your relationship with the ex going outside the expense of the new partner, especially if it's a new someone and they've made their self clear that they want no further dealings with the ex.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And a lot of families they struggle with that, and understandably so, especially if that particular we're just going to use son. If that particular son was in a long-term relationship with that ex-girlfriend, and that ex-girlfriend, of course, became a part of the family, so to speak, it is hard for the family to let that person go. Um, and to recognize or to accept that that son is no longer with that person. A lot of families they can't, they or I shouldn't say they can't. They choose not to um, respect the boundaries of the new person that's in the relationship now with the son. So
True.
helping people understand that you have to respect the new person, and not put the ex above that new person. A lot of times we've seen the movie Monster. What's it called? Monster in Law with
Mother-in-law,
Jennifer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where no one's good enough for my son or whatever. And in some cases, they might say that, or they might say, I feel like this other person is better for my son or
Yeah,
better
in
for
that
my
movie she did.
daughter.
She invited the
Mm-hmm.
ex, to try to say like, look what
Yeah.
you're missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
She did invite
Yeah.
the ex over. So yeah, we got to
Mm-hmm.
understand family favorites can go well at times, it can. Or it can become a farce in that mother-in-law case and then it's no good.
Mm-hmm.
When me and my first long-term boyfriend called it quits, it was not on good terms, girl. But, that was between he and I. His family remained cool with my family and vice versa. I just didn't go to any of his family affairs anymore because he was with someone new. And I felt that was just
Yeah.
whack. Like, why sit up in this girl's face, making her all uncomfortable? We had absolutely no ties. And even with, say, we had children, that doesn't matter. If they invite the kids, invite the kids to whatever you have going on.
Yeah.
Having children with someone doesn't mean you need to show up every time your kids are invited. His
Right.
mom still did outings with my mom and all of that. But honey, I was going about my business.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you were able to move on, and in that situation, the family wasn't trying to hold on to you and say, please stay here with us or whatever, try to win them back. Or you have families that involved where they are really pushing that ex to somehow, make a power play
Show
for
up. Yes.
that.
Stay
Yeah, yeah.
important. Stay on the scene. If he sees you or she sees you, yeah, no, that's
Oh
not good.
yeah. Oh
On the
yeah.
other
Make
side of
sure.
that, yeah, go ahead. I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
Oh no, no. Go ahead, Sean.
No, you saying like make sure you stay, around. Stay in their face.
Uh-huh.
That's not always good.
Uh-huh. Right.
Now the other side of that is, I've been the new girlfriend, you know what I mean? And the family not wanting to accept that was a new partner. That's also whack. I've been a new girlfriend, and I've been on the side of people wanting to sit
Mhm.
up and call the ex constantly. Look, that's no good. If the
Mhm.
person has made their choice, deal with it. That can be so
Right.
uncomfortable for so many people. Not me
Oh
now, like I
yeah.
said, because I bet you I know how to let them have it. Me and mine, I'll get right up and go home. Y'all have fun. Be blessed. I'll leave them right there with the ex. That's your girl. That's your dude. That's your friend. Y'all have fun. I didn't
Right.
I didn't
Right.
include
Right.
myself in mess, and I still won't. I found it was best to
Mhm.
remove myself in my older years. When I was younger, you
Yeah.
can always you can almost guarantee somebody's gonna get punched in the face when they try to play funny. It'd be all fun and games until somebody had a black eye missing a tooth. Now you labeled as ghetto, violent, messy, whatever the title
Right.
they want to give you,
Right.
because you
Yep.
turned that laugh into a cry real quick. So
Mhm.
people like to create
Yeah.
storms and then act all surprised when it rains.
Right. And then there are also situations where the family may pretend to accept you, but meanwhile, they're, got all these workings with the ex going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. Um, and you can't control any of that. You can't
You
control
can't.
how they feel. You can't control, what they're trying to stir in the pot, behind the scenes or whatever. What we can do as um, the new person in the relationship, or even if you're the ex, you can help by not feeding the fire. And I know so many exes will want to. They will say, well, the family loves me and I need to be with him because they love me. So he should love me. And so they're more than happy to keep mess going, or to keep, trying to, bring somebody's wishes to fruition, that, brings unnecessary strife, like we've
And they
talked
feel like,
about.
yeah, they feel
Hmm.
like they have the upper hand because, the family likes
Yes.
me. So like you said, instead of
Right.
them saying, "Hey, look, he has someone new. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not coming around," or "I'll just catch you
Hmm.
later." They feel like they're
Hmm.
gonna show up and everybody, gonna tell jokes, and you like comedy, go on a comedy tour. But
Right.
it's some
Yeah.
people you don't need to be playing with, okay? So it's best to check people background
Oh,
before you start with the comedy and jokes. I wasn't really one for the comedy. So that's why I had to go on.
right.
I had to go on to calm down
Right.
and be about my business.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Shannon, it's the
It
worst part. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
No, you're sticking to that point. I was going to a different point. So go ahead if you have something to add to that.
Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna say I've read, so many articles where people have written in. You remember what was their name? Dear Abby,
Yes, yes,
back
I
in the
remember Dear
day.
Abby back in the day.
And
Yes.
yeah, and I remember reading, columns where people would write in and say, my mother-in-law um invites the ex to every holiday, or invites the ex to everything, to spite me. My mother-in-law is doing this to me, to spite me. Um, and I used to read those and wonder, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I really don't. Um,
I do. I'm gonna tell you
unless
what I
the
would do in it.
ex,
Go ahead.
yeah, unless the ex is really being nasty, just go show up and have a good time with the ex. That's how I look at it. I would, try to spite the mother-in-law, I guess is what I'm saying. If you and the ex are getting along, get along in front of the mother-in-law, is what
That
I
now
say.
see
So
that
what do
that
you
is now
say?
that's a good no, that's a good side to it. But let me tell you, that depends on the attitude of the ex and the new person.
That's
Like you
true.
and I.
That's true.
If they were just
Mhm.
say you didn't have your son with my husband and you guys didn't have a
Mhm.
son before, you guys had the son before I showed up, before I was even in the picture. But say you were just his ex and you guys didn't have a son before he was with me. And I said,
Mhm.
you guys do have a really good relationship. You're my husband and you and the family. I'm sorry, I can't get my
Mhm.
words together tonight. But anyways, if they constantly invited you and we get along the way we do, that would be no problem for me. If
Right.
it was someone that was constantly being messy, or always say, or they showed up and
Mm.
want to constantly talk to my husband but didn't have two words for me, or would
Yeah.
walk by and see, we ain't about to play that game. That's when the black
Right.
eyes and the tooth start missing. See, that's why it got to be a controlled situation. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
how I would handle that. If I was really uncomfortable and the ex was messy, I first speak to my partner. You need to handle that. If they say, "Oh, it's their house, I can't invite," well, guess who ain't going no more? You and I won't be showing up. Then have fun, baby. Y'all be blessed. We just won't show up anymore. And if you think you gonna show up and I ain't coming, baby, then all y'all gonna have fun. Okay? Because
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna just let the whole family have it. So it just depends
So
on
wait.
each individual situation.
So Sean, so you
Hmm?
saying you stop him from going to his mama's house?
No, no, no. You can't stop a grown man from doing nothing. That's first of all.
Right, right,
You gonna
right.
recognize if you with me, we gonna be on the same page. See, that's why you have to be equally
Yeah.
yoked. That's why it's important to be in a relationship. If
Mm-hmm.
I recognize your mess, sometimes that family member might not recognize that mess. So I'm gonna pull you to the
Right.
side and we're gonna get home and have a conversation. Babe, do you see what's happening here? And that partner gonna
Mm-hmm.
either say, "Yeah, I see it," or "No, I'm not." So then that's your family, or if it's my family, it's up to me to get on the phone and him to get on the phone and be like, "Hey, this is
Right.
making me and such very uncomfortable." So y'all gonna either
Mm-hmm.
invite Sheila E. and what was the group? Sheila E. and Coach Jam. What was their name? Y'all gonna even invite Prince and the Revolution or me and my wife? Who y'all inviting this week? Because we're not coming. So it has to go like that. So it really depends on the individual situation. But if you
Right.
clearly see your family being messy people, it's your job to protect your partner. And if they
Right.
say, well, that's our favorite and we don't want her to not be invited or him to not be invited because that person is uncomfortable, then it's up to the partner to say, well, y'all have it then. I won't be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or yeah,
And
or
hope,
we getting a new partner
yeah.
because, like I said, mess
Right.
you
Or
can
a new
recognize
partner.
mess, or get you a new
Right.
partner. I don't play the games,
Yeah.
baby. I ain't never played them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not insecure at all. Let's get that straight. It's not an insecurity. It's about respect. I have a big
Mm.
thing with respect and loyalty. Those are my two things that will end it real quick for me. So I'm gonna ask for the same respect from my partners that I give them. I'm not gonna have my exes sitting up at my mama's house up in they face. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I said a few times my ex would come by before when hubby and I were dating. And it's like we gonna roll out, hey, what's up? And then hubby shortly be rolling out because I don't want to sit up in their face. I don't have no issues with the dude. My husband is very laid back. So he's never been the one to be like, oh, I don't want to be around. It's just respect for me. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We gonna get our little barbecue, our
Yeah.
hot dog, we gonna roll out. What we sitting up looking around for? Who wants to do that? First of all. So it just depends on each individual situation. But Shannon, what I was getting to a minute ago when we bumped heads. The worst part about the family favorites is it turned into a force for that new person or them actually ruining that new partner's relationship. That's the worst
Yeah.
part about family favorites. That's the like worst case scenario. They actually succeed at ruining someone's relationship. It becomes a force. Now, the new someone just decides they don't want to deal with it any longer. So how
Right.
unhealthy is that to go around ruining people's lives and relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Family, this is not just for partners. This is for the messy families too who decide they want to play games like that. Think about what you're actually doing
Right.
to that family member. You're making them so uncomfortable, and you don't know what they may have to deal with when they get home because you like to be funny and tell jokes.
Right.
So that's just something to consider. When you have a family favorite, you know, you'll learn people in the golden ages. Young people, y'all gonna understand this right here. I didn't like getting older, but I love it here. I love it here because I'm no longer stuck in the young foolishness, and I love it here because I
Mm-hmm.
understand things better. It's so important to have someone who isn't controlled or married to their families. When it comes to this
Yeah.
kind of issue, that's what you're gonna want. Someone who isn't controlled or married to the families, because I'm telling you, that's almost always a problem in the end. I mean, I'm cool
Right.
with my family. I'm cool with my own family, but I don't want to be stuck with them all the time. I mean, I want to be with my man sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I want to chill with my dude. I
Right.
don't want to every event I show up with. I don't want to be with my family, sisters and brothers. Like you got to chill a little bit with that family. So
Yeah.
if you got a
Yeah.
partner who's married to their family or controlled by their family, I'm gonna tell you, I better work that thing out before y'all even walk down the aisle because that's almost always a problem.
Yeah. If you can't work it out, if that partner, is that tied to his family that he allows you to be disrespected, I'm hoping that you can recognize that, and that you're not so caught up. And I know as young girls or or grown women even, not just young girls, get caught up into oh, but I love them. I want to be with them. They are the most important thing to you, that family or that guy in that family or whatever. But it's not reciprocated. And if it's not, and your partner isn't making that space for you, um and or he's just oblivious, not even recognizing that you're going through,
And you're
this
uncomfortable.
level of disrespect. Yeah, uncomfortable. The level of disrespect, and um even if you're ignored, say there is no drama, they just ignore you when the other chick comes around, or the other man or whatever the situation may
Right.
be,
Oh,
whoever
I've
that ex
experienced that
is.
too. Mhm.
Yeah. So if you're just ignoring, you're like, oh, he's like, but they didn't do anything to you. They didn't mistreat you. It's still, if you're uncomfortable, I want you to be able to voice that and say, look, husband, boyfriend, whatever you are, um, recognize this is what I'm feeling without the drama. You're not being messy, you're not being loud, you're not, in the ex's face or whatever. You're just simply stating, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I'm feeling. And I know a lot of men will say, "Oh, you're insecure," or "Oh, you're jealous," or "Oh, whatever adjective or whatever they want to call you." Um, and if you don't get what you need from that partner,
That's what I
like
said, honey.
Sean just
Speed on.
said, get a new one.
Speed
Get a
on.
new one. Yeah.
Speed on, baby.
Because, right. Because if that family is that powerful in that man's life to where you will never be I'm sorry, you'll never be respected, I don't think there's much you can change there. And in your mind, ego, just like last week when we talked about everyone think they can put it on everybody. In your mind, you're not going to be able to change this family. So, if he's not there for you, you can't change them, of course. You can't really change anybody. However, you can
If you
ask
can't
to
make
be
them see things
respected.
your way, yeah, ask them to
Right,
see things
right.
your way.
Hmm.
And if someone really
Yeah.
loves you, if someone's really committed to doing this thing with the long run, they're going to do whatever it takes to make you comfortable. They're going to
Yes.
bring it
Yep.
to the attention of the
Yep.
family. And if the family say, "But you can't tell us, you can't," well, then it's time for him to make it. Well, that's what I was saying, Shannon. He's like, "You make him not go to his mama's house or sister's house." No, you can't make a grown person do nothing. I'm going to
Right.
set my
Right.
boundaries and I'm going to lay out my law and I'm going to respect the law of my partner. So if we can't come to
That's
this thing
right.
equally, then I'm on my way. I mean, right
Yeah.
now, my husband is from a very close knit family, but he thinks for himself. And I'm gonna tell you something right now, baby. When you talk to his wife, you need to tread lightly. He about he about foolish he can be in some areas, but when it comes to his wife, honey, tread lightly.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
appreciate that about him. He's never had to,
Hmm.
conquer the the battle of
Hmm.
exes because mostly, like you said, most of all of his exes anyway, he's in and out with, and it's not so much of a thing. But thank God, as foolish as he was, and I was back in the day, he had some pretty decent relationships. So I don't think I've ever experienced the drama, with the exes. So we don't really run into that issue a whole lot. But I tell you right now,
Hmm.
like I said, I believe if it ever was the case, he ain't got no problem letting me know. And you got to be married to
Right.
someone who's willing to protect your heart and your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's just the bottom line. You got to remember,
Hmm.
regardless who the family favors, it's your life in the end.
That's right.
So,
It is
partners,
your
that's what you
life.
got to remember. Yeah, it's your life.
Hmm.
All right.
Right.
I think I'm going to move into my red line segment.
All right. Red line.
Okay, the red line topic for today is keep that mess at your address.
Yes.
And is dedicated to the people who just can't accept their favorite is no longer the one, or they just don't like the new someone. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but it's a must that you respect your family member's choice, whatever choice they make. And if you do choose to keep a connection with the ex, that's a personal choice and that's fine. But don't take it upon yourself to constantly make the new person in your family member uncomfortable, especially if it's messy. If
Hmm.
you're so in love with the ex, host a sleepover, a girls' night, do a tea party at your house. But don't be disrespectful inviting the ex to family functions, especially if the new someone and their family members are going to be there. By all means, you don't have to kick babe to the curb. Go out to eat, whether shop, live it up. But my advice
Mhm.
is to keep it to a minimum when it comes to family affairs. Don't make it
Mhm.
uncomfortable. Always digging up exes, having them pop up like a jack in the box at every affair. Child boo. My grandma used to say,
Yeah.
let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
And that's my red
Yeah.
line for today.
Yeah, and one thing I can say too about that, even if they get along like you and I do,
Hmm.
as the wife, I would still run it by the wife and say, "Hey, are you cool with?" Well, not every single time, since you and I get along
Right.
great, but if we only saw each other, I don't know, once every 5 years or something like that,
It's no
and they
sense to
said
call and be like, hey,
to
I'm coming to town.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So just to say, are you comfortable? I would, as the family, I would hope if I'm ever in a situation where my son has two, a wife and an ex, I would hope that I would, well, I shouldn't say I hope. I know I would look out for the wife first because that's just who I am. And
Right.
if I'm still friends with one of his exes, which right now I don't think that will ever happen, but I don't like any of my son's exes. No, I take that back. He might be listening.
She didn't
But
mean it, son.
no, I do love one. Oh yeah, there is one I still love. She knows who she is. But anyway, um I would look out for the wife first. That would be my thing because I believe in the institution of marriage and that wife has the the leg up.
That's
Her
right.
needs and everything should come first, and I would hope a family would recognize that. I don't care what they feel about her. I don't care if they dislike her or whatever. If that son has chosen that woman as his wife, that's who you respect and that's who you honor as his wife.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
I fully agree, sister.
All right. All right. So, thank you, Sean, for those red lines. And once again, we ask you to submit your own red lines to us at wifey and babymama at gmail.com. That is wifey and babymama at gmail.com for your chance to win a $100 gift card. Um, as you heard last week, we had a winner, our first
Yes.
WBM winner, yes, of the
Yes.
red lines. And yeah, we got to give her a nice little cheer for that. for our,
Yes.
yes, for our very first winner. And we appreciate the submissions coming in. So,
Keep them
and we
coming,
don't
guys.
mind, yeah, keep them coming. We don't mind giving away money.
No, and I
Keep them.
want to make something clear. One of the viewers emailed to me, Shannon, and said, can they only submit every third Thursday? No, you can submit a red line submission any day, anytime. 2 in the morning, if one pops in your
Oh,
head,
right.
you can
Yes.
submit it any time of the day. It doesn't have to be. And I had several people ask me that,
Mm,
so I want to be sure to mention that on
yes.
tonight's episode. You can submit a red line. It doesn't have to be related to the topic that we're speaking on. Any red
Nope.
line that's a no-no in a relationship is good to go. So you can submit
Yeah.
those to wifey and babymama at gmail.com at any time you feel like it. It
Right.
doesn't have to be the third Thursday of the month. That's just when we choose the winner.
Exactly. Come get your $100.
Get your
All
hundred
right.
dollars.
All right. Now on to the segment we call the fictional family I'm feeling. All right. And the fictional family I'm feeling this week. Got to take it back. Old school to the Jeffersons. Knew at some point we would have to discuss the Jeffersons.
Yes. Cannot.
So
How can you
we,
not?
how could you not? Yes, Sherman Hemsley. Um, so in this particular episode, George and Wheezy, who's Louise, and Mother Jefferson, they're all in the kitchen of their townhouse, and Mother Jefferson is saying that she's invited a special guest over. And George is like, who? And she says, let me give you a hint. Hooden. And he's like, oh, hey, Harriet over. Harriet, whatever her name was. So that automatically tells you there's some intimacy there if there's
She calling
pudding.
Harriet Puddin'.
Exactly, exactly. And so Wheezy's like, who is that? And Mother Jefferson says, oh, only the nicest girl George ever dated.
Mm-mm.
And Wheezy's looking like, okay. And she says, so why would you invite her here? um, and Mother Jefferson says, I just want her to see what she lost when she lost George. And Louise or Wheezy says, oh, I can tell you one thing she didn't lose, Mother Jefferson. She didn't lose that.
She lucked out on that.
He lucked out on that. And then so George says, so Mama, when is she coming? And she says, oh, she'll be here in a bit. She's getting her hair done. And she says, oh, Louise, that reminds me, that gives you time to put on something nice.
Mm.
And Wheezy or Louise, she's like, I already have on something nice. And Mother Jefferson says, where? Underneath? Underneath what you got on? And George, of course, sticks up for his wife and he's like, Wheezy, you look fine. And Mother Jefferson says, love must be blind.
Oh,
Love must be
now,
blind.
now see,
So
I,
go ahead.
no, I was just saying, now see, she messy.
I know. Very messy. Messy. And for those who have watched the Jeffersons, you know that Weezy had to deal with that a lot from Mother Jefferson.
Hmm.
But it didn't impact her marriage because in the end, George did take up for her. He
What
did
he was
say,
supposed to do.
uh-huh, he sure did. And therefore, the little digs from Mother Jefferson, they could not take that marriage down.
Well, you
That
know that's a TV show. It's like you said, it's a fictional family. But it
fictional
was
family.
perfect. It was perfect for everything that we hit on here. You
Yeah.
can't stop the haters from being haters. You can't
No,
change who George's mother was. Weezy wasn't
nope.
going to disrespect her mother-in-law, but she didn't have to because George did his job in protecting his wife. So
He sure
great.
did.
That was a great fictional
Yeah.
family. Hit all the dynamics of the topic today. Okay. Yeah, that was
All
great.
right. Thank you. And that is the fictional family that I am feeling this week, the Jeffersons.
All right.
Okay. So it looks like we've come to the end of our episode tonight, and we hope you all enjoyed it and that you will tune in next week and every week, Thursdays, 7:30, the new episode airs. And we're on all platforms. Please like and follow us and share. We're on Facebook, Instagram, um, YouTube, and Twitter. So, and then the listening platforms, of course, from our transistor site, you can see all of the avenues and ways that you can tune in. And Sean and I thank you, and we look forward to another week. Talk
Love
to you
you
next
all.
week. Love you
Bye.
all.